Welcome to Simon on the sofa, or should I say Simon on the beautiful chairs today. And I'm quite playful and crazy and excited today because I'm with the wonderful Susie Pearl. Hello, Susie Pearl.
Hi.
This wonderful woman, we met, well, we haven't met, we met today for the first time, but we connected, should I say, online over a year ago, and we was going to film this film, I think last summer. We was going to do it in the park, and then today we were going to do it somewhere else, and synchronistically it's brought us here because Susie's just come into this wonderful place and said, can we just use your room for half an hour to film? And it's like they've said yes. And I'm really also happy to bring this to everybody that follows this Simon on the sofa, because transparent communication and the power of conversation and how we can embody that in our lives is also something that Susie does, amongst other things. So yeah, welcome, and I hope you can take something from this conversation. Thank you so much for taking up some time and coming down.
Pleasure.
Awesome. So as I said before, I think where I would like to start is, yeah, if you and I at this point in evolution on a planet revolving around space in 2012 moving into 2013 could have a conversation together which we could share to the world, which we feel would have a real impact and support, you know, the evolution of our species. What comes up for you when I say that?
Well, there's so much being talked about shifts and change. Fundamentally, it's how people feel and the kind of experience they're having with life. What I really feel at the moment is I want to share an optimistic view, and that view is I genuinely believe anything is possible. And I think it's to do with our programs and our feelings and how we run our brains. And I think one of the things that we can share with the world is how to do that in a way that's more loving, kinder, and gives people a better experience. Because, you know, we're rattling around with fears and with belief systems that might hold us back. We don't need to. We're getting really good now at knowing how to get our brains working in a way where we can actually love one another. And why wouldn't we? And when we know that if we come from a place of love, understanding, compassion, reverence, excitement, passion, whatever it is, then we're going to be building more of that in our lives, rather than reading stuff, say, in the newspapers. I just did a thing last week about where our media is, and it's so fearful, terrifying. I can't even pick up the paper now and read. Certainly won't let kids read it. It's like, wow, that is so sensationally taking us in the wrong direction. So for me, it's about sharing information that the science is showing us, that how we think, how we feel, and how we project ideas actually does influence in the world. It's really important.
And it's happening. And it's real.
It's real. So people go, yeah, but that's not, you know, my life is difficult. I haven't got enough money, I haven't got enough love, haven't got the food or whatever it is I need. For sure, people are experiencing suffering. But we don't have to live in that way. There are alternative ways of feeling and being, and encouraging people and each other to expand their hearts.
Totally, yeah.
Think about and feel about new ways of being. And I think that's where we are now, is really thinking about how can we be who we'd really love to be.
And how can we bring that through, and also show it, like what you and I are doing as well. It's like actually show what that looks like, how that shows up, and actually share with people that, like you said, the news and everything else is that stuff that we're programmed and conditioned to hold on to, which is giving us an identity, which is making us say, oh, but I don't have money, or I don't have things, or I don't have object form, or I don't have status, or I'm not successful, or you know, all of these blocks. That is what we're saying, move beyond, right? Because we're actually saying that form of identification, that what you're clinging on to, is not worth clinging on to, because it's not even giving you the substance or the essence of what it is that you're trying to achieve by clinging on to it. Do you see what I mean? Because what we're talking about is the simplicity, right? We're talking about the intangibilities, love, you know, the happiness, joy, true or enthusiasm, you know, the connecting to the unknown, like you say, the cosmos, the experience, the full expression of the experience.
And
that's not a price tag.
What you're talking about there, they're all emotions, they're all feelings from inside. So it's not about this stuff, it's about this stuff inside. And the more that we can realise that life is about our experience, our inner worlds, that we then exude and can share with other people, the easier life gets.
Yeah, totally.
And actually, it puts it into perspective. It's not about the stuff. How I got into all of this.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that
Well,
question.
it's relevant because it's about what the nub of what we're talking about, which is love and success is about how you feel inside yourself. It's not outside yourself. So cut back a few years, and I was a celebrity PR. I was looking after people in Hollywood and well-known bands and faces and stuff, and I was doing all of that. So I was at the hub of that material world. Which film have you been in? What album have you just done? It was all about that. And what I found was these people who'd become really successful and earned loads of money and got the top of the game were not happy. You know, we'd sit late at night when all the cameras had stopped rolling and go, you know, how are you doing? And they were like, oh no, shit.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
You just got a new album, oh my no, shit. I don't know who my friends are. I take some more drugs. You know, it's not a good look.
Yeah.
So this got me thinking.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you got to the top of your game, you've got loads of money, you've got loads of people hanging out with you.
You've got the idea, ideal.
You've got everything that we're all wanting.
Yeah, and that 90% of the population want it. Yeah. Yeah.
So then suddenly the light went on. I thought, that's not it. I know you haven't got your rocket science to work it out, but sometimes you need to see it to realise.
Totally.
And I had a bit of a meltdown where the wheels fell off in life. And I think when you get to that level, and a lot of people find their spirituality when things go really wrong. Happened for me.
Yeah.
Things went really wrong. Life went from top end to bottom end, and I thought, I'm not sure I want to carry on with this. And I was really, really in a bad way. And it was at that point I began to search and think there must be something else. And it was at that point that I realised it was me. You know, I am the universe. I am life, and I needed to sort things out inside of here and not struggle for the outside stuff.
Yeah.
And then I randomly met someone 7 times in London in a week, and I was like, wow.
7 times. I've heard of some synchronicity.
Like,
7 times.
7 times. It's an old friend of mine.
On the 7th, you're like, this is definitely with
It's
something.
like, okay, are you stalking me? He's like, no. And he had something to share. He taught me hypnosis and trance and how to get into this really great brainwave state. And from there, I learned about manifesting and how the brain works. And from being able to go into altered states of reality, I began to explore. I'm a big fan of meditation, by the way. And going into meditation takes you into that bliss state where you realise there's something much bigger than you and I sitting here in chairs. We're connected to this vibrant machinery of life that can give us answers, ideas,
information,
love, anything,
connection,
sort out, resolve problems. And when we begin to tap into that, we're away.
Yeah.
And
how can you even be poor in that space
you
as well?
Can't be poor.
There's no, there's no lack in that space.
It's abundant.
Yeah, how can there be lack in that space? And it's beyond it's so wonderful what you say and how you describe it, and simply describe it as well for people listening, because what's so beautiful about what Susie and I are doing is that, we've come from a realm where we've been in that realm where, it has been like, fame, fortunes, need the money, success and all that jazz. And what we're saying is that, not only is it us saying that's not it, but we're also pointing to so many other people that are saying that's not it. And then realizing that the abundance that you're seeking, you couldn't even get what we're talking about from any object that somebody's created.
No.
And any money.
No.
You give me £1 million, you couldn't get it because it's already here now.
Yeah.
It's free.
Yeah. And this is it. And being around people who have got enough money to buy whatever they need, you realise they can't buy what we're talking about. They can't buy that peace, that harmony. So how do you get it? Well, I think there's a few ways. One is really getting into seeing how you feel inside yourself and learning that feelings are a choice. We haven't got to feel bad. You might say, well, there's bad shit happening in my life, so that's how I'm responding to the world. Well, we have a choice about how we respond. We don't have to respond badly or aggressively.
It's the way we react.
So we can learn a different way to respond to the world and learn that whatever is happening without judgment, just go, okay, I'm observing that. And let it float on by, almost like watching a cloud go by in the sky. You go, okay, that's happening, I'm going to observe that. But it's not you, These things that are happening in your life, they're not you. They're just stuff, they're just events, you could say, some people look at the world and go, everything out there is an illusion. But that's hard to get your head around. For me, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. If you think of it in those terms, and use that as a model for looking at the world, going, well, I can just choose to change things. I can choose to change things immediately about how I feel about the world. I can choose to love instead of hate. My neighbour. My neighbour came round last night. They're changing their kitchen. There's drills going off the whole time. I'm trying to meditate. It's a nightmare. She came round last night and said, I'm really sorry about the building work. And I thought, I was sort of like pretty angry because all day I've had this
meditation wasn't working.
and I couldn't do what I was meant to be doing. But I thought, you know what? I've never met her before. She came round. I just thought, it doesn't matter. You know, I've got a new person here. I'm just, how am I going to respond to her? I'm going to throw love at it.
Yeah.
Today, the guys they're coming around, they're pestering me. When can we put the drills on? You know, we'll only do it when it's good for you. And, you know, everything's shifted and changed. It's how we respond to the world. There's no point in getting angry.
Yeah.
The science shows us as well, when we get angry, our vibration changes. And instead of being a neutral vibration, or even better, a love vibration, when we go down in vibration, there is this thing that happens because the whole of the universe is based on energies. It attracts different frequencies into our lives. So when we go into fear, guilt, hate, any negative emotion, we can pretty much guarantee we're going to be attracting more of that same shit into our lives. So why would you do that? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's a choice, isn't it?
It's a choice.
Yeah. I always say to people, if you know, if I put a plate of human poo on this plate and then a plate of like good juicy vegetables, you know, with a nice little bit of seasoning on, which one you're going to take?
Yeah.
Right? Now, more often than not, unless, you know, you might want to try what human poo tastes like, which is fair enough, more often than not, you're going to choose the vegetables. Yeah. Even if you don't like vegetables, you're still going to probably choose the vegetables.
Yeah.
And people might go, it's not that black and white, but actually, or brown and colourful, but it actually is.
Yeah.
You know, it really is that simple. But you have to get yourself into a state. So for me and you, we've got ourselves into a state. We're vibrating that. In terms of like, what would you say? Yeah, you wasn't in that state always.
No.
Yeah, so it's a process. It's a stepping stone. It's a commitment. It's a discipline.
Yeah, yeah. And in the micro of the day, your day, you might start off great, feeling good. Then through the day, stuff happens. You know, to throw you off your game, and you might try and hold it steady, and you might find it difficult. And the thing is, when you sit down from feeling good to feeling bad, don't give yourself a hard time. Just notice it. Just go, oh, okay. And just bring yourself back up. Know that it's your choice. So it's not, other people don't make you feel bad. You make yourself feel
you're in
bad.
control.
So just noticing it is really useful. And I think that's why a bit of downtime regularly, a bit of slow time, and you just go, just take it easy and think, how do I feel? Do I feel good enough?
Yeah.
Do I feel good in myself? And that's the thing. And it comes down to how much do you love yourself? And that comes from what you take in, what you eat, the vibration of your food, the vibration and frequency of your thoughts, who you hang out with. You know, a lot of our environmental stuff has a massive impact on us. You know, just thinking and becoming more aware and taking care of ourselves and the planet and thinking about how we consume and what we do with our stuff afterwards. It's all to do with that frequency that we're running at. And it was really interesting because I was at a bus stop one day in the rain, and there was some friends of mine who was sheltering under the tree, and it was pouring with rain. So I invited them in, and there was a guy there I didn't know, and he was a bit grumpy, and he was a French guy, and I sort of said, hi, how are you doing? And he didn't really want to chat. And he was really wet and cold, and I said, come on into the car, and we had a chat. And I said, what do you do? And he said, I kind of work in sound. He said, what do you do? And I said, well, I kind of write stuff. Neither of us really declared what we did. He turns out he's one of the greatest mind scientists in the world, and he's in my car. I'm like, oh. So within a couple of minutes, I'm like really like glued into each other, and so I'm finding out from him how. I said I'm fascinated in how the mind works, and he said, well, I've been researching all the science behind our thoughts and our thinking and our feeling and our vibrations, and he took me to his little science pad and began to show me all this stuff. So everything that I knew intuitively from the ancient texts and from picking up and talking to people and stuff, he was showing me on a science level. And when you actually see it on the computer, the power of just what we say to one another and the vibe that we send is so big. Yeah. And it affects everything in the universe. Yeah. That's when it gets really exciting.
Yeah, that's off the scale.
And we need to be responsible. We need to really be aware of how much our choices about how we're feeling and how we're choosing to interact with the world is affecting everything.
Right, and then so that's taken us. That's wonderful, beautiful story as well. I love how those synchronicities happen. So what we're talking about here is not only repeat some of that back, but not only to bring it back into the self-observation, self-love, which you so beautifully said, because without consideration for the self, you can't have consideration for others. It's not possible, no matter what you say. When I was a thief, when I was a burglar, when I was taking drugs, I didn't care about anybody else. I didn't really fully care about myself. You know, it was very much like, well, you know, this is dog eat dog, and I'm going to survive, and I don't really care what's going on there. And I have no clue that me taking this jewellery right now is going to have a ripple effect on everybody else in that family, potentially be an identification that they latch onto for the rest of their life. I didn't know I was having that much of an impact on the whole of humanity, you know. So we're talking about self-love there, coming back to self-introspection, and really looking at how you're showing up from, like you said, the words, the people you hang around with, the vibration you're putting out into the world, then shifting your vibration, and then looking how science is then showing the sheer power. Because, for example, I know you're into this as well, the heart and the electromagnetic field now, and how they've measured it, you know, beyond 15 feet, and me and you, like, we've already communicated with our heart way before we even opened our mouths. You know, so we're going into, like, science is, like you said, clarifying with the ancient texts and the mystics and so on. Total parallels all coming together.
What the ancients are saying is the same as the scientists are now discovering. Wow, it's the same stuff.
How exciting is that?
Oh, that makes me so excited.
That's what I'm talking about.
Great. And so for the people who need science to back it up, it's there. For people who want the ancient wisdom,
it's there.
Brilliant. And everything is saying the same thing. We're one.
We're one. We're interconnected. Everything you do is having an effect on the other.
How I vibrate affects you. What I speak affects you. And that I create my life experiences by the way that I'm setting up things in my brain. So suddenly we realise that things like setting good intentions, getting really clear about what you do want. I mean, people say to me, you know, what can I do to feel better? One of the first things is really think about what it is you want. Because a lot of people aren't clear about where they want to go, what they want to do.
How they want to show up, what they want to bring to the world.
What they want to bring to the world, if anything was possible. Because so many people get trapped in the day-to-day stuff. It's like, oh, I've got to show up Monday to Friday at a job I hate. I haven't got any other time. I'm just going to sit in front of the TV and chill because I don't have any other space in my life. Well, you know what? Spend a bit of time, just spend a little bit, take half an hour to sit down and think, this is my life. Is this important? And if it is, what are my choices around this? What would I really want to do? And then just take little steps towards it.
But the conditioning, it's interesting we bring up that the conditioning, the indoctrination that we're already in, this is what is great to bring up, is what we need to also bring to people and share with them is that you are programmed, you are conditioned, and you are indoctrinated by a set of beliefs that are now functioning in your subconscious, that you are functioning from. You are making all your decisions from that, and you need to stop everything you're doing, check in, look at what you've done so far in your life, and look at why you've done that. Who's been the navigator of that ship? And who's been driving your beliefs, ideas, concepts, theories, and so on. And then stop at that point and then take back responsibility and ownership for you. This magnificent, unique, divine essence of, like, there's no other one like you, Susie. There's no other one like me. It's such, like, if you can't celebrate your life and just stop for a moment and go, whoa, let me stop. I'm here. I'm on a planet. I'm part of something magnificent. I don't need to be doing all of this indoctrinated conditioning, which, let's face it, 99% of this society is functioning from that indoctrinated mindset. Do you see what I mean?
Which comes from education, how the education model's set up. I mean, I'm watching my son now, who's 12, coming through classes and education and framing life in this sort of categorization that just isn't true. It's just not true. You don't have to live life in that particular way set up. Also, how the media presents things is very formulaic and so out of date. You know, it's so based on old paradigms that aren't relevant anymore. So really, it's a question of freshening up your thoughts on life by just taking some breath and just stopping and having a look. And if you were advising yourself about your own life, what would you say? You don't have to do the things that you've always done in the way that you've always done them. You can make new choices, new changes about everything. All you know, your relationships, how you interact with the world, everything is up for grabs. So you can make some really positive changes. And it takes some courage. But that's what life is about, going outside of
the comfort zone.
Everything I've ever done that's worked really well and that I'm really proud of has involved going out of something that's comfortable into something that's uncomfortable.
And find comfort in the discomfort.
Yeah, I love that. Because I was taught early on, I was indoctrinated to take risks. My dad was a gambler. We used to live in a really fancy house, and then I'd watch all the furniture be taken out. And then the next week all the furniture would come back and we'd have a Rolls Royce. Week 3, there'd be a bicycle. You know, it's that. We went from being really rich to really poor regularly. So I got both ends. But I also saw what gambling looks like. I'm not saying it's a great way to live your life, but I'm saying that by taking some risks that aren't probably as extreme as my old man used to take, you know, life gets quite exciting. And if you believe that we're all taken care of, I mean, how can this all be? How can this all be unless there's some brilliant thing at work?
Yeah, don't get me going. My latest one is like, your nails stopped at the exact perfect place, your eyebrows stopped at the exact perfect place, your eyes are functioning in a way that you were not in control of, your body's showing up and functioning and seems to be part of this happening, which you're not actually, this idea of you, I, whatever it is, you're not actually in control of that. It's happening. So actually it's more, it's wonderful you brought it out, because it's more about surrendering to what is really happening. And stop trying to control what you think should happen. Because when you actually surrender, you move with the flow of the universe, which then, funny enough, your choices are almost taken care of. Because I want to bring it round as well, because what a lot of people might go, okay, well this sounds a bit airy-fairy. This sounds a bit like you said, in England, you know, people are quite close to the idea of happiness, positivity and so on. Oh, what's this, law of attraction? Oh, so I want to manifest, I want to still manifest wealth, and I still want to manifest success and money. So I want to bring it round to actually also, you know, from a universal and a evolutionary perspective of what is possible when the human species stop thinking that they are in control as a separate self, but actually come together as a collective unified field to actually, you know, move, because again, we're not in control of it. It's almost like we're surrendering to this creative force that seems to be driving us this way anyway. And that's what it feels like to me. But I know Anna and I know other people that right alongside that, in many other different dimensions, many different paradigms, you've still got severe pain and suffering. The crime's still going on that I was involved in when I was younger. Today, there's people that are just so locked into the society that we see out the window that they are not even going to open to this, maybe for the rest of their life. They're going to die as they are in that society. Do you see what I mean? So,
but there is a major thing going on. We're all feeling it, and lots of people are talking about it. And there seems to be this wave, and I'm really happy that our point in history, we're on that ability to, with the internet, connect with amazing people around the world and feel the energy of so many people now just beginning to feel like there's more to it than this. There is more to it than the drudge of daily life. And I think of it like, I think of the brain a bit like an iPad or the interface of the desktop of computers, where we've got loads of apps running. And I know, one thing I've found from my work is that we can download new apps to our neurology like that. We've got really fast. It used to be quite slow. Even 10 years ago, it used to take half an hour to get in the space, talk someone down really deep into trance to be able to make some good changes at a cognitive level. Now we're speeding up. We're just as fast as computers. We're faster. The human brain is way more, the capacity of the human brain way out. It speeds anything that's known in computer world. So we can download new apps, and that will blast out old programs. That's the good news. People say, you know, so what? Yeah, I've got programs. Yeah, I've got beliefs. They're not helping me. Well, the good news, if you were saying to me, what do I want to share? I want to share that we can now change our programs instantaneously by downloading new apps in a digital format to our brains. So the stuff that was holding us back, beliefs like, you know, all relationships are difficult, or, you know, I'm poor, that's my life, that's my program. You can change it.
Self-doubt.
You can change that.
Totally.
And you can change it really fast.
Instantaneously.
If you've got a brain, you can change it. It doesn't matter where you are on a social scale or where you are in the world. Our brains work the same way, and we now know that we can download new programs, new feelings, new emotions. It's like a new app.
Yeah.
Think of it in those terms.
Human app.
Human app.
Yeah.
You can do it.
We will just create it.
And it's about, once you get into the love vibrate, you see there's also brainwave state where all this happens. And the more you get into being able to relax, spend some time, like I mentioned meditation before. Meditation's a great space to get into where you can feel bliss. That is the space where you can make the best changes the fastest. Yeah. You can actually
best ideas come out of there.
You get in the creative zone and you get in that powerful place where you can ask for new stuff to come in and you can get rewired.
Yeah. And even this, what you're saying, is a rewiring as well.
It is a
Because even what we're talking about here is actually, you have to first also rewire to trust that what we're saying functions. Because I'm the same, I meditate, I love meditation. And actually, I love the little saying that came up the other day. It said, you should meditate. It would serve you if you meditate 10 minutes a day. And if you don't have time, meditate an hour. Have you seen that one? But you know what? It was really beautiful for my practice because recently I've got quite busy. And then a little bit of my practice has been going. And then I've noticed when certain scenarios come up or a little situation, I've noticed that I'm a little bit shorter on, I'm still quite good at being positive and seeing, the optimistic view and not reacting and so on. But I did notice that, I reacted there a little bit. So that was my instant awareness, like, okay, well, practice, come back. Because at the end of the day, everything I'm doing is irrelevant to what is about the beingness. Because if you don't first come to the beingness, anything that you're emanating, whatever that is, whether you write a wonderful book which you've just brought to the world, or whether you create a video content or whatever, that actually isn't coming from that energetic space. So I know that's a little bit digressed, but throwing that in there, and also coming back to your human app. So what we're actually talking about is that there is a global, for whatever reason, amongst everything you shared, the different brain waves, the science, the positivity that's coming through, the way that we engage, but there is definitely an energetic shift going on at this point in history. And why would you not want to be a part of that?
Even if you're not sure whether it works, like back it anyway.
Gamble it. So I'm back in the shift. I'm back in the shift.
Because the outcome of that is really pretty good. And the other stuff's not looking so hot. So
we're gonna 2-1. We're gonna 2-1 on the winner right now. Back the evolutionary shift. Because if you don't, you're going downhill. You got, what's it called in the horses? You got a dead horse. That one's not coming out. It's not coming out of the. What is it? I can't remember. But it's not. It's a slow starter.
Slow starter.
And I think that it's a beautiful analogy, because if you look at society, the way that we're interacting and functioning, it's a slow starter. I'm not into it anymore. I've almost got no time for it. We were speaking this morning, funny enough, about this, and I was talking about what really inspires me and energizes me. And I looked out and people going, so we were talking about somebody selling their art and all that. And I'm not saying don't earn money. I'm not saying don't create great art. But I'm not interested. I'm actually not interested in anything really too much in this society. Even though I would need to find some money right now, as money is still one of the ways that we do exchange. I'm interested in exchange of our beingness, our gift economy, bringing through new ways of showing up, new communities, new structures, new systems. I'm interested in seeing what that really feels like, looks like, and being with people like yourself and the wonderful book that you've created, which I'm going to mention to the viewers in a moment. It's like a new curriculum. I don't mind if the schools close down, if the bank shut down, if the whole system falls apart.
I'd be quite happy with all of that.
All of it,
I'm really happy. People are like, things are going to collapse.
Great.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Bring it on as fast as possible. Because I'm interested in working out how to live an amazing life. Anything other than that, I'm not that interested in. And I don't want to show up in the old stuff, the old ways of doing things, and get engaged in conversations about stuff that's negative or not going anywhere. Not interested.
Totally.
I don't want to participate in that particular communication. Other people can, and they just get used to it, and maybe they haven't thought about there's other options. Way more interested in looking about this. We're all here on an amazing planet with a lifetime. How are we going to use it best? And what's the answer to that question? That is it.
What a gift.
I mean, that is it.
What gift are we going to give back from the gift that we seem to be endowed with? I mean that just like, and the minute you show up from a place of like, what can I give as well, as opposed to what can I get? Because most of society is what can I get, right?
Yeah.
Okay, meet Susie Pearl, great, who are you? Okay, what do you do? What can I get? Oh, that's a nice ring, you know, whatever it is.
But also the research on happiness, when you look at what makes people happy, giving to other people, that's one of the major indicators for how happy
giving and receiving, you feel great when you give.
Yeah, it's a great buzz. And getting communities, that's another thing. People feeling like they have a community. Support. Yeah. And in this particular phase of history where a lot of people are working for themselves from home or using technology or whatever, it can feel quite lonely. A lot of Facebook stuff where people just feel, actually might have 500 friends on Facebook. Yeah. Do I have a proper friend? Not really. So it's about people feeling that they do have people in a community that they feel loved by and they can give love to, and that they can share stuff. They can give stuff away, and they can receive. They know how to receive. Because some people can only give. Yeah, totally. That's another thing.
Another
to live life in balance.
To make sure
you
can
love
receive.
who you are. Yeah. To love those around you, and anyone even those people, particularly the people you hate. Switch that into love. Yeah. These are all the things that are going to notch you up higher into a space of feeling happier.
Yeah, and raise your frequency, like you said earlier, and change the app, the human app, beautiful. And and throwing in there, I know we've thrown so much out there for people to listen to, but that is all part of the integration, isn't it? Yeah. Because we are talking about a whole new frequency based on, and you could call that a whole new dimension or paradigm, whatever you want to call it, but it is a real dedication to that, because what happens is, in theory, a lot of people have got it in theory, like different aspects of being happy, positive or whatever. A lot of people have got it in theory, but actually getting out there and experiencing it, having an experience of it. So I'm not here saying that people need to keep fixing themselves or doing so much work. It's actually about getting out of the way and seeing what that experience feels like.
A bit surrendering. Yeah. A bit surrendering to the fact that this is a kindly, good universe that looks after you. And a lot of people would shout that down. A lot of the kind of regular people in everyday living will go, that's just a load of old bollocks. Yeah. Well, fine. If you think that's fine. But actually, just open your mind to the possibility that this is a kindly place and where things are working for you. Yeah. And for example, when people come to me and say, I lost my job, it's a nightmare.
I normally say, great.
Great. Yeah. What's going to happen next? Yeah. Create some space.
Open the window. Yeah.
Or, I've lost my boyfriend. I mean, we didn't have a good time anyway, but good. Yeah. Lighten it up, freshen it up, create some space.
I'm the same on death.
Yeah.
People say to me, somebody's just died. I'm like, amazing, celebrate. Yeah. Celebrate that life. Yeah. Great. And people look at me like, I'm like, death is life, it's one. Yeah. If you can't celebrate loss and death as a natural flow of this experience, then actually you're resisting part of the natural flow of what is happening here. Yeah. So actually what you're doing there is you're limiting yourself from actually living now through experiencing death in this moment, knowing that this could be the last moment. This could be the last conversation I have on the sofa-ish sofa, it's a chair really, but this could be the last conversation I have. So I want it to be the most rich. When I hugged you earlier, it could be the last hug I have. I want to hug you and hold you. It's like, this could be the last drink of water I have. Savour it.
Death is really, we're not taught how to deal with death. And also death feels for a lot of people final, the end. Yes. For me, there is no end. And when you get into the sensation that essentially we're all energy, at the moment we happen to be wrapped up in a body as well. We happen to have a body that's conveying us around the place. Yeah. But essentially, the physics of the world are that everything continues. Yeah. Everything moves on. So even death is, it's one of those things. Well,
it's funny. I know it just come up to me as you said the body, because like I know where we're going in terms of the mind. It's like, now if we take away the label of the body, and I know I'm going to use words to label some other stuff, but like even take away the idea that there's even a body, or you're Susie Pearl and I'm Simon Sutton. Yeah. Let's just move that away. Just like completely detached from that now. Yeah. And then let's look at that. Actually, we are an energetic ball of whatever, the same essence that tree is, or the stars or the moon are, and we're manifesting that energy in this form, and we're just here having an experience, part of that, and it's going to rise and it's going to pass away. It's going to rise and pass away, like the trees, like everything is doing that. Yeah. And when you actually just walk around even with that in your awareness, it changes everything. It changes your interaction with every single thing. I mean, it changed everything for me to the point of like, last night I was like looking at this bug on the floor. Super cool bug, right? Really tiny, little black and a little hard shell, so much detail. And I was like, whoa. And I said to the guys, I said, look, watch. And as you got close to it, it just hopped, right? It was like moving really slow. You got close to it, it just hopped. And I was like, whoa, how unique that the expression of the whatever, the universal force in that moment has enabled that bug, for whatever reason or however that bug has learnt to when it feels danger or something coming close to it, it can hop, right? And it can get away from whatever it is that it's not feeling cool with. And I looked at the detail of it before I put it out of the way because I didn't want somebody to walk on it. And I was like, the sheer detail in such a minute thing, I was blown away. And I mean, I've looked at bugs and I've looked at it all in more detail now since I've experienced and accepted that there's so much going on out there.
Yeah.
But even if you just go to the detail of what is occurring, way beyond our story, you know what I mean? Way beyond our, I've got to pay the rent next month, or I'm getting married, or aren't I great? I'm doing really well in the world. Look at my status symbol, and I've got a business card. Let's get a life, and let's move on from there now. That's old hat. We've moved on from there. I'm like, that bug. There's no other bug like it, and it can hop, dude. Right?
That teaches you about the world. I had it with a mouse the other day. That mouse and I were eyeballing each other, and I'm like, I love you, mouse. I'm not going to give you any grief. They looked at me and went, okay, cool. And there was this moment where we were just both locked into each other, and I was learning. I was really recalibrating my whole essence of, I'm going to be frightened of a mouse. No, this little mouse was cool. And he was there to show up and teach me something really important.
Yeah, but this is like, I mean, even people hear this, they're like, you guys you've lost it. You guys must have had something in your water today. You've tripped out. I'm like, no, I've taken drugs. I've tripped out. I've been in them altered state of consciousness. This is an altered state of consciousness. There's no two ways about it.
It is.
And this is a completely altered state of consciousness, which we, not just me and Susie Pearl, but a number of other people that I've met across this wonderful path, we're inviting you as a free buzz. You don't have to pay for this. This isn't even for sale. This is free. This is free. This is a free buzz. Well, not even a buzz. This is a free experience that you can witness based on the tools and the pointers that we all share. And I think that's a real, I want to bring that in because one of the things that we think about giving is about gifts. And it's like, so then we think we've got to go out and buy object form in order to give that as a gift. But let's not, we're talking about the intangible gifts now. Love, enthusiasm, support, encouragement, real nurturing of the unique individual so that unique individual can be the most best that it can be in the full expression of what it can be, whatever that might be, way beyond what even me and Susie might think of, even if we was with you at that point. Do you see what I mean? Like, could you imagine somebody comes in and we're like really encouraging them to really flower?
Yeah.
But we would point at them like flower, we did this, but then enable them to flower from what they're bringing. And where that could go, it's like, they could end up flying, whatever, who knows?
Yeah.
So I think it's a beautiful point to bring in. I want to bring in, I don't promote people's books. I've said that on a couple of times. There's a couple of people that I don't mind sharing what they've done. And I tell you why that is, because it's part of the evolutionary impulse, which is birthing a new generation, a new culture. So I don't mind being an advocate for that. But this isn't about selling you something, but I really want to just highlight, because I love Susie so much, I really want to highlight her wonderful, colourful book, which is more like a curriculum of happiness. Ka-ding, there it is. Now, we're not on about sales here. We're not, don't buy this book, never get involved in it, doesn't matter. I'm not here for that. But I really want to just highlight that this book that Susie's brought to the world, which is like a manual. You can see that. It's got like a ring there. This is a manual. You've got within this book, and I haven't seen anything like this, and this is why I'm really, really passionate about sharing this. For example, you've got pull-out. People keep saying to me, how do you do certain things? You've got like pull-out parts within this that give you the exercises. And it's a tangible book to take you on a journey of deepening your own experience and becoming truly happy in your life. And what I love about this as well is that I've read a lot of books, a lot of texts, sometimes a few exercises great. You can do online courses now and so on. But this is actually, I'm feeling, and I've just been given one today, but I'm feeling like this is actually a journal, a personal journal for you to go on a journey, within yourself. So do you want to just share a little few words around the essence of this? Because I know this is the first time I've sort of like been, you know, it's come into my consciousness. So
I wanted to write something that I would have liked to have read when I was having my meltdown, or when I was asleep and or having a tough time in my life. And there was plenty of tough times in my life, and you know, everyone goes through stuff. And I thought I want to write down a really simple thing about how the universe works. So it's split into 3 sections. The first bit is about how the universe works. It talks about energy and the nature of the universe, laws of karma, laws of the universe. It just sort of sets the scene for the universal, the cosmic, if you like. And then the middle bit, I put what I've been working on for a long time, which is it's a manifesting style. So how to really create better stuff. And it's not this materialistic thing. It's what we've been talking about. It's materializing better life experiences. And to do that, you need to be clear about what you want, to set good intentions, to get clear in your mind, to slow down, to go into a particular brainwave state. So I've done some audios with my scientist friend where he's engineered this brainwave entrainer background music, which takes you into this bliss. And then I talk you through going into these particular states and invite you to open up into happiness, into strength, into courage, and just allow your cells and your molecules to begin to vibrate in that way. So there's audios that support it. So the middle section is really about creating some better life experiences. And then the final bit is about a toolkit. It's really practical. Because I'm out there in the world living my life. And I know that for some people it is about being practical and getting really practical. So there's quite a few really good tips that have worked for me ridiculously. I mean, stuff that is, people wouldn't believe. They think I was been making it up. Well, I put it in the book just to give people tools of how to do it. So for me, it's a journey. It's a trip on how to really get happiness.
Yeah, and to embody everything that you've been embodying and experiencing over your journey.
All the things I've learned.
Yeah.
I just wanted to write it down.
Yeah.
It's really simple. It's really easy to read. It's not convoluted. It's not scientific. It's based in science.
Yeah.
And I've also read lots of ancient wisdom, and I've wrapped that up. It's all very fresh and contemporary, bright colours, easy. It's an easy read.
Yeah, it's an easy read, and it's for everybody as well. That's another thing as well, because I know we can go into a cloud and we can go into the esoteric aspect of this experience, but also in order to get to that space, we also got to be mindful of the people that are grounded in the space that we used to vibrate in. Yeah. So it is about supporting the whole, you know, the funny thing is when you start to really love yourself and you fall into this essence of what we call love, that vibration that we're talking about, you really want to take everyone with you. Right? You really want to share. Yeah, you don't want to be on your own. And it's funny because it's like when you used to take drugs. I mentioned this, and if some of you have watched a lot of my talks, you might have heard me say this before, but I repeat it for this conversation from a fresh perspective. So when you take ecstasy and you take whatever the drug is that you think that you're feeling really good on, you really want your friends to do the same.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, I've had this great whatever tab or drink, and I want you to try one. Well, I think that there's nothing else that we can do other than really want to share this, is there?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You feel that? And if you don't, I know you'd say you wouldn't, but sometimes people say, it'd be great to have a conversation where people don't always necessarily agree, but the thing is I bring people to you to show that there's other people that are completely different, having a different experience, but in the same frequency.
Yeah. So
it's great if somebody sits on here and says, Simon, that's rubbish, meditation don't work, transparent communication don't work and all that. Great, I'm open to that, that's fine, to go on an exploration. But today is about bringing another woman who I've met along my path, another being, who is in that frequency. We've clearly been sharing in that frequency for the last year or more, and out there on a completely different path, come from completely different backgrounds. But when you get into that resonance, you really you're not in control of the choices that you make to then bring it to the world.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Would you say that was the driving force?
Yeah, I think the mission for a lot of people these days is about communicating the wisdom that they've been lucky enough to pick up along the way that works for them. And when you find things that work for you and you're in a space of love, you want to share that. It's not the old competitive style where I've got a secret, I'm not actually going to share it because that will put everyone else up.
Yeah.
It's the opposite to that.
Yeah.
If you've got stuff that you know that's going to work, and I've had troubles and difficulties and I've been down there and I found stuff that works for me. And I've found by talking to other people stuff that works for them, and you begin to realise there's a commonality to all of this. And of course you're going to share it if people want to hear it.
Yeah, and if they don't, that's fine.
That's
like we
fine
said.
also.
Yeah. We're not by any means. We're not trying to convert or whatever. We're saying that we're inviting.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful place to sort of wrap. How are you feeling? Is there anything like surging through you that you'd like to bring through for the conversation, or are you feeling that's a rounded space?
Yeah, I think we've covered some good stuff.
I'm a bit blown. I think I need to round it up for myself, because I was like, whoa, where can we go now? You know. But I feel that.
I think that's a good.
Yeah, I feel that's a really beautiful place. And I think. I didn't start us off with the singing bar. I almost felt like going out with the singing bar. Do you have the singing bar? It's in the bag, I think. Might be over there. Guys, I might take us out with the singing bar. Can you see it in the bag there? A wonderful audience there. So I think what we're going to do is it might be in that blue bag. If it's not, it's fine. So I think what today's been about is it's been about an invitation. Yeah? Would you say that? That's an invitation to, hey, thank you. Look at this, we've got a singing bar. So I think it might be nice if we end it on, it's an invitation for you to look at life from a different perspective, go on a journey. People like Susie Pearl, myself, are really bringing a lot of work and a lot of content to the world in order to support you to do that. But go on a journey of your own, and bring your full essence, that full uniqueness to the world. Don't do it our way, do it your way, but trust that there's a different way of living. If you might be living in the space that we're talking about, but I'm on about for the people that are really finding it difficult right now. Yeah, there's a lot of crises going on. There's a lot of things falling apart right now. So we're saying,
that gives you good information when stuff is going wrong. That's really, really useful information to look at what isn't aligned in your life and how to look at what needs to get realigned to bring you into a better space. So use that information, and so that will give you directional pull to head somewhere else. If things aren't working, do something different.
Yeah, lovely. Wonderful. Give him a bit of sing bowl. I love the sing bowl. Do you use a sing bowl? Instantly, that instantly brings us back into, we've just gone on a real energetic journey that you've come with us. And for me, this just really brings me back to a place of stillness, silence and solitude, where everything we're talking about is where it arises from. So I'm just going to say thank you for listening, however long this talk has been. Really honour your time for coming to the Simon on the Sofa and going on a journey of discovery. And I'm just going to thank our wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guest, Susie Pearl. Thank you so much.
Thank you.